It's also extremely helpful when you're in the power struggle phase to know what your primary fight or flight response is.
Ooh.
So meaning fight, do you usually fight?
Mhm.
Do you usually flight, like want to get out of there and leave the room or leave the house?
Mhm.
Do you primarily freeze, shut down, or do you primarily fawn, which is people pleasing and give your partner whatever they want?
Mhm.
And you also want to know what the primary mechanism for your partner is too. Do they usually fight, flight, freeze, or fawn? The reason it's helpful to know what those are consciously is that when you get into a fight, you'll be able to slowly start to consciously recognize the pattern. And you'll be able to see, like, oh shit, my fight just kicked in. Or, oh shit, my partner's flight just kicked in. You'll be able to start to consciously recognize those patterns. And like they always say, the number one step to changing anything is awareness. You have to be aware of what is happening and what the cause and effect reaction is in your relationship in order to do something differently.
Since ancient times, the fight, flight, freeze, and fawn responses have served as survival mechanisms for real physical threats. Today, these instinctive reactions remain hardwired into our systems, but are often triggered by perceived psychological or emotional threats, rather than actual danger. This is especially true in intimate relationships where vulnerability is highest. Over time, these survival responses have evolved from essential tools for physical survival into coping mechanisms for navigating emotional and relational challenges. Fight, reacting with aggression to assert control or defend yourself. Example, yelling or criticizing your partner during a conflict. Flight, avoiding the situation to escape perceived harm. Example, leaving the room or refusing to engage in the conflict. Freeze, feeling paralyzed and unable to respond. Example, shutting down emotionally or going silent during an argument. Fawn, people-pleasing to diffuse tension or gain approval. Example, apologizing excessively or agreeing to something undesirable to avoid conflict. It is helpful to know what your primary and secondary survival mechanisms are, as well as your partner's. When our primary response fails to get us our desired result, our secondary response takes over.